Variety is the spice of life. It's a very common idiomatic expression which buttresses the fact that differences in things bring out their inherent beauty. For instance, on the African continent, just as traditions vary from one culture to another, so does dances vary. And this is most appreciated during events where different ethnic groups or languages display their unique dances. Nigeria is one country so blessed as it has over 500 languages spread across the country's landmass. So on this edition of Frontiers, we shall be taking a look at how the diversity in culture can be effectively utilized as a tool for unity and national development. My name is Obiageli Ugwoke, and our guest is Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the National Institute for Cultural Orientation, Ado Muhammad Yahuza. It's a pleasure having you on Frontiers.
Thank you.
The program continues shortly. Once more, you're welcome.
Thank you.
It's all about cultural diversity. But before we delve into the main issues of the day, what is cultural diversity and why does it matter?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think cultural diversity is about multiculturalism. It's about different meeting of different cultures, in either one place or in one community or in the world as a whole. It's about the differences or the different, cultural, identities, in a society. That's what it is, which of course involve religion, involves ethnicity, involve race, involve different identities of human beings. That's what is it about.
UNESCO in 2002 at its General Assembly declared May 21st as World Day for Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development, with the day seeking to promote a deeper understanding of values of cultural diversity. Now, how is NICO taking advantage of the annual event to promote cultural diversity in Nigeria?
I think the actual convention, this is what they call Convention 2005, which was actually finally done in October 2005. And the role NICO actually is playing in this case, because the essence of making a day, of anything, is about awareness, to create awareness, to show the importance of that very thing. And in the case of cultural diversity, the May 21st has been declared, and the essence of it is to make people aware the importance of this diversity, because the world, is not homogeneous. We have differences in so many ways, but the differences are not really, minors. Rather, it's something which is positive, to the development of this. In fact, that was why UNESCO said, cultural diversity of cultural expression and development, so that, mobilizing all these diversities we have, towards mutual coexistence, towards development. So in the case of what we're doing in NICO, we have so many programs, that we do towards, ensuring this UNESCO convention. One of them, of course, yes, we do, in terms of training, we train Nigerians, anybody in Nigeria who is interested, in learning, culture. We train people and award like a diploma to people on cultural administration and resource management. So that there are so many people, Nigeria being a multicultural society, there are so many people, especially our youth, who don't even understand, their own very environment, how much more of other environment, being a multicultural society. So we try to teach, to acquire, so that you'll be able to acquire knowledge about what Nigeria is and all that. And that is part of our training. But when you come to orientation programs, we have so many, and we believe that you need to do that. You need to take that at a lower level. You need to take our youth, because they are the first target in terms of not knowing some of these things. So we have something like culture clubs. We are creating culture clubs in secondary school all over the country so that somebody from northwestern Nigeria can understand the culture of a riverine Nigerian. You know, a riverine Nigerian can understand the culture of somebody from northeast, from southwest, and all that. Because the basis is this, and that's what UNESCO wants, understanding. We should be able to understand each other, which will now give the basis for peaceful coexistence and then generate social development. That's what it is. So NICO is doing so many things. And one of them, apart from this cultural club, we also do use cultural fiesta. These are programs that, one of the programs this is a program that we do competition among our youth in terms of, hairdo, in terms of dress, in terms of cuisines, traditional cuisine, traditional dress. You see, this country, that is the cultural asset, the cultural resources we have. And that's the advantage we have more than many countries in Africa and in the world. Because the more the merrier. We have so many, and we have the cultural resources, we have the cultural goods and assets. So we are trying to appreciate those assets. Instead of dividing people, we try to appreciate. And that's why today you can have a fashion parade in Africa. We have varieties more than any other country. So NICO is trying to bring this out and then to make our people, especially the youth, understand this. Especially again, now you have this cultural invasion, of social media, where now you said the globalization of culture, where you have what they say, the world has become a cultural village, a sort of village where people are always, you can access the culture of somebody from America, from Europe, and all that easily. And of course, if you allow that competition to happen without doing the orientation, our own cultures are the disadvantage. So that's why NICO is actually, we have so many, the culture club, the training we have, the disuse extravaganza we're talking about, and so many others. So they are there, which we are pursuing.
Okay, now, let's narrow it down to our peculiarity as a country. Nigeria is a country with 521 languages. I think over 521, with 1,150 dialects. And we also have diverse ethnic groups with our different cultures. Are there problems identified as in terms of languages?
I don't think there's any problem. I think it's like I said, it's an advantage to us. The only problem which we are now facing is that our people, especially parents, they don't bring up their children with these indigenous languages. So the danger is that some of them are getting extinct because we don't teach our children. You grow up in the house, you teach your children English. You don't, some of them you find children, they tell you they are from this social place, but they can't speak the language, and which is dangerous because language is a vehicle. It's a key, it's a vehicle for cultural norms, for cultural development, for values and all that. So gradually, some of these languages are getting extinct. And that's why in NICO, we have program, indigenous culture, indigenous language program, which we do in more than about 15 centers in this country. We teach not only the so-called big languages, Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo, also the smaller languages, because they are more at danger of extinction than the bigger languages. So we are trying to make sure that they don't go down. We are able to teach our children to learn the language, because when they learn the language, they learn the value, the values, the norms, and whatever in that language. So, and also it gives you, we are also encouraging, not only learn your own mother tongue, learn another mother tongue, because this is a multicultural society. It is an advantage for a Nigerian to learn not only his mother tongue, but other mother tongue. That means if you are Yoruba, learn Hausa, or maybe learn Igbo, or learn Tiv, because once it gives you advantage of understanding each other. It gives you, mobility. It gives you acceptability. It gives you, even if you are a trader, today you can speak more than one language in a market, you may likely to have more customers. You know what I'm saying? Than somebody who is a manual language. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's not a problem. The only problem is that we need to realize the importance of our own mother tongues, so that we teach our children so that they can grow in addition to English. We are not saying they should not. English is a medium of instruction. There's no way you can. But you need to understand your indigenous language, your mother tongue, and in addition, try to learn, another mother tongue, as a Nigerian.
All right, Mr. Yahuza, I can see you're trying to make us understand the differences and in our languages and the importance of understanding our local dialect. But are you trying to tell us that in terms of our diverse cultures, from the Igbos, we have our cultures, which is totally different from the Yorubas and the Hausas. Nico has not identified any differences in terms of these cultures?
No, I don't think it's totally different. This is what total. It's not. There are some of us in this country, they are overlapping in terms of our culture, in terms of our cuisine, in terms of our dresses. Sometimes they overlap. And mind you, because of cross-fertilization of ideas, because of interaction, sometimes we borrow. In terms of dress, at one time in Northwest, there's nothing like Ashwebi. You know what I'm saying? These same clothes, but Yoruba do that, and then gradually it's becoming a national culture today. You know what I'm saying? And there are even language, like you say Wahala. Wahala is a house word, but it's now common in this country. So gradually, because the way we interact, we are internalizing our cultural this. And the issue is not about the cultural differences. It's about understanding them. You know, you may not share the same thing like another person over there in the country, but you should understand this is his culture. And what UNESCO is talking about, you respect the culture, understand it and respect it. When you do that, you live in peace. That's how. So NICO is trying, as a government presidential, as an oriental, try to bring out this, to encourage Nigerians to understand each other so that we'll be able to coexist and then generate development for the country.
Nigeria as a country has always tried for peaceful coexistence. Now, what is the place of intercultural dialogue in terms of peace and sustainable development?
Yeah, that is very important. And that's why also, again, what we do in NACO, we do public lectures. You know, we do public lectures, we do conferences, we do workshops, and then we publish the outcome of that, and we bring people, and normally the topic we bring, topic that is national, around this very thing you are talking about. And then we get the resource persons from different parts of this country. It's part of the dialogue. To understand, sometimes provide solution, people understand. And then we document. So that when you document, our school children, our educators, will be able to accept that so that they do the understanding. So I think, we are going there. We are not yet there, but definitely through the activities of NICO and maybe similar organizations, so I think we are utilizing effectively this diversity we are talking about.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Elza. At this point, we'll pause for a while.
Thank you.
This is Frontiers, and we are taking a look at cultural diversity as a tool for unity and national development. The program continues in just a moment. Just stay. Welcome back. Now, there are harmful age-long cultural practices like the female genital mutilation and child marriages, to mention but just a few. What is NICO doing to change people's perception about these unhealthy practices?
Yeah, I think what we do, like I told you, through some of our programs. For instance, the culture clubs we have in schools, you have children that male and female children, and we used to educate them, about all these things. And of course, yes, when you have a negative cultural practice, you don't at once rub it out. You don't delete it. You need to educate, because nobody will want to harm his child, deliberately. So, but it's the understanding. But gradually, when you do the talking, you do the orientation, they gradually understand what it is. So you don't come and say, no, what you are doing is nonsense and all that. No, you need to educate and bring out the negatives, about what is happening. So I think apart from NICO, there are so many NGOs I know who are doing this kind of orientation in terms of making people aware, of that these practices are practices that are supposed to be extinct, supposed to go because they are not good for our female children and all that. I think that's what we're doing.
All right, your organization, among other things, is also charged with the mandate of offering guidelines for orientation, cultural matters for political makers and other government officials. What challenges is NICO faced with in carrying out his constitutional mandate?
Well, I think, trying to convince human beings is sometimes very difficult, especially when you are hooked, on a particular thing. You see, our education system right now is facing challenges. Challenges in the sense that some 30, 40 years ago, we had a situation where we have unity secondary schools, we have NYC. People from here, for instance, somebody from Kano who did not know anybody can travel to Rivers and do his NYC and come back, and nothing. And, secondary school, somebody traveled from Wari, probably to Sokoto, to attend Federal Government College, what we used to call unity colleges. But these days, this deliberately crafted policy, of unity is actually going down. So you find a situation now, most of our children, they go to private school. You go to private school, and the private school is pay as you go. According to what you can pay as your school fees. So majority of the people in that school, the pupils and the students in that school are within the age, finance, class group, you know what I'm saying, where you can pay. So the learning is low. So somebody can have a degree, can work, you want to be a politician, but he doesn't have the cultural and political wherewithal, to really guide him in multicultural society like Nigeria. So trying to convince them become much more difficult. And secondly, as I told you, because of social media invasion, somebody, your child, somebody big, adult or young, can sit down in his room, can travel to America, travel to US and travel to UK and all that, learn all sorts of stupid cultures. He will sit down like as if he's reading, but he has entered into another world and doing. So the challenges are becoming more and more. But I tell you, through these programs we are doing, we are trying to convince, people, and also the people in the education sector, I think, are doing something right now. At one time, history was taken off from the syllabus of secondary school, but I think now it's back. So through all these things, I think because the politicians we are talking about were at one time, they were students, they were young people. So they grow up in the system. So it makes it easier if they are well sufficiently, educated about this. It makes it easier for them now to incorporate it into day running or whatever, or wherever they find themselves. Yes.
Now, leaders have a great influence over their followers, both secular and religious leaders. In what way could you advise that they can best utilize cultural diversity for the good of the society?
In fact, the platform of religion leaders, I think religious leader is very, very important. And that's why when you are engaging in orientation, you need their services. And I believe there are many of them who are very good. They are through their sermons, they are through their session in the church and all that, who understand sufficiently the necessity of living together, the reality of multiculturalism in this country. So, and I think they are doing their best. That's what I think. And that's why NICO, one way or another, we engage them in terms of whenever we have something like lectures, like all that, sometimes we even give them, we bring them in to deliver lectures, on multiculturalism, on this diversity, because they are respected people. The majority of Nigerians, they are formally religious in the sense that either go to church or go to mosque or whatever. So they respect their religious leaders. So I think we need to carry them along, which we are doing, so that they will be part of the trend, in terms of educating the larger population of this country.
At the local level now, for instance, the traditional rulers, how impactful has their leadership been on instilling these cultural values into the younger ones? Are they collaborating with NICO as an organization?
That's what I'm saying. We do collaborate. The only thing is that in every society, you have people who may not be straight in terms of what they do, in terms of their preaching, in terms of, there are very few of them in Nigeria, definitely. But I think majority of them, they see eye to eye with us in terms of them, trying to educate their followers about multiculturalism, about the cultural diversities. And I think, like I told you, we used to involve them in terms on some of our programs. And I think that's what we're doing. And I think there are situations whereby, some of them, when you invite them, we even publish pamphlets of what they say, because our target should be grassroots. Our target should be Nigerians. And these are people who have sufficient, control over their followers. So I think if you cannot afford to neglect them, so long they are doing within the ambit of the law, within the ambit of the constitution of this country.
How do you think Nigeria's cultural diversity can be utilized effectively for peaceful coexistence, political stability, and the overall development of the nation?
It's through understanding. If we understand and respect, this is a culture, you are diversified, but I understand your culture, you understand my own, you respect it. I will not, castigate what you believe. Hopefully, you don't castigate what I believe. I respect it. Definitely, when you do that, everybody knows his boundary. And then where, in fact, that we can do together, we do together. I think there is this interface that is very common in this country. There are some groups, they call themselves interface. They relate very well, both Christian and Muslim, to understand where they have in common, where they have not in common, they respect each other. And you remember, even as far back as over 50 years, one of our leaders in this country, he is saying that he doesn't say you should forget our differences. Let us understand our differences. This is a great country, because what Nigeria has in terms of this multiculturalism, in terms of these diversities, no country in Africa has it. And that is why we are Nigeria. That's why today, if you want to do competition in terms of cuisines, in terms of dress, you can beat any country, because the more the merrier. We have so many. In one state today, you can have 3, 4, 5, 10 different cultural groups. So I think it's to us, that is a big asset for us, and we need to utilize it for sustainable development. That's what we're supposed to do.
All right. Now, you talked about our local languages
Yeah.
going into extinction, which you say is very important also in terms of our peaceful coexistence. What do you think that leaders should do, both at the local level, to ensure that, or should we take it back to the school to ensure that these local languages are involved in the curriculum for the younger ones to keep catching up with it?
I think the national education policy, encapsulates, that very thing you are talking about, because they have.
We just have few of the local languages.
Yes,
the major ethnic languages.
It's gradual, because definitely, like what NACO is doing now, it's not just because the tendency of these 3 bigger languages to swallow the smaller ones is there. So we encourage those small languages. NACO, one of the centers, if you go, we have a center in Bayelsa, that teach Ejo, Ipik. We have a center in Gombe that teach Hausa and Kanuri. Kanuri is a medium, smaller language compared to Yoruba or Hausa, of course. And across the board like that, we do that. And I think, and we are government. Government finance what we are doing, so that is the role government is doing. And I think even the pyramids of education, I believe they are doing something in terms of encouraging this. I believe in the broadcasting corporation, you have news in Fulfulde, for instance, in smaller in TIP and all the others. So these are ways I think both state and federal government, are trying to encourage. And I believe there are also some NGOs who are also encouraging that. The only thing, the effort may not be good enough. We need to, heighten it so that we'll be able to achieve what we want to achieve. That's it.
You talk about federal government and state collaboration.
Yeah.
What is a NICO state collaboration like?
Yeah, well, it's very good, because we have about 11 zonal offices, 13 zonal offices right now. That's the essence. Catch them young, go to the grassroots. We have in 11, in fact, we have 6 in 6 geographic offices, in 6 geographical zones. We have state offices in about 9 states. And the essence is these are the cultural resources we are scouting. We are like scouts, trying to get them in so that, so that's why we diversify in terms of zonal offices, in terms of state offices, so that we can get these cultural resources at the grassroots. And in fact, when you are talking about intangible cultural heritages, which UNESCO actually always every year they want you to bring up, which NACO is doing as a focal agency. We use our own grassroots mobilization to get some of these cultural resources, so to fine-tune them, to bring them to the limelight at the national level. If they are unique, we take them international to UNESCO. That's what we do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adomo Hamad Yahuza. It's our pleasure once more to have you on Frontiers, and we thank you for the so much insight you've shared with us on the program.
Thank you very much.
We have been looking at how our diversity in culture can be utilized to unite Nigeria and also for national development. And our guest was Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the National Institute of Cultural Orientation, Ado Muhammad Yahuza. Thanks for your time. My name is Tobiageli Ugoke.